Good morning, and welcome to Gardening with Garry. I'd like to introduce myself and my wife, Julie. She is behind the camera at the moment.
Hi.
We've been here for 10 years. The gardens were set up from absolutely nothing. We bought the property, it was just greenfield pasture. So everything you see around you and everything we're going to show you over the within the introduction, we've created in the past 10 years. So we're currently stood in our cottage garden and we're looking right at Magnolia stellata Jane. We have lots and lots of other shrubs in here, perennials, so we have all your old favorites. We're obviously underplanted with a few daffodils. We have a cherry here. That was gifted to us by a friend, seed raised, don't know its name, but it performs really, really well. And as I say, we have lots and lots of perennials in here. Delphiniums, foxgloves, sweet williams, daylilies, hostas, everything you would find in a traditional English cottage garden. We have a rose bed here just in front of us. Now all the roses are old-fashioned varieties. We've tried many of the hybrid teas, we've tried David Austin, but they just don't seem to last. And then beyond that, we have again another nice bed, irises, hostas, willow, the Australian shepherd. Hi, good girl. She's out with me all day, every day. So she's going to be a permanent fixture. You'll see her very, very often in the future videos. So we'll pan around a little bit more and we still have a little bit of damage to clean up. We had a huge ice storm come through here about a month ago. So I'm still clearing up debris. We have lost 3 really nice larch. And again, everything you see we planted. These larch, when they went in, they were only, I don't know, about 5 feet tall. So now they're pushing 20, 25 feet tall. And yes, very unfortunate that we lost some. And then we have our sort of focal point when you walk into this lawn area of our nice ornamental grass bed. Obviously nothing much showing at the moment. 1 or 2 lupins interplanted, and then a really, really nice magnolia. So this is Magnolia Galaxy, little later than the stellatas, doesn't have any scent. And I'm hoping this year we don't get the rain that usually comes just after it's flowering. So at the moment it's looking really nice. Give it a few more days and it'll be right out in bloom. So I built the seat. The seat's actually moved several times. Never quite sure where to put it, so it's there. I don't think we've ever sat in it, to be honest. Beyond that, we have the upper field, and we have a wild area. I do nothing with that. We have a little bit of wildflower in there, but it's a really good area for bees and butterflies. And then as you pan around more of the cottage garden, there's a larch there that needs a little bit of attention. And then obviously I've got to get in here at some point, cut the grass. So we're just about to leave the cottage garden with everything we're going to show you, not just the cottage garden, the pond, the orchard, everything we have here. And as I said, we've got 7 acres of gardens. And myself, as I say, myself and Julie have put everything in ourselves in the last 10 years. So if you join us, we will show you how to propagate, how to divide, how to collect seed, when to collect seed, when to divide. Not only just the cottage garden, but the whole gardens. We will show you everything that we do here in the gardens and take you through all the processes. We also have a reasonably large vegetable patch as well. So we'll be showing you everything that we do and everything that is involved in producing all the vegetables that we use in the kitchen. So we have our little area behind the pond. This is probably my favorite area of the garden. Again, everything you see, we've planted again in the last 10 years. This area probably planted 7 years ago. We have vinca here, and I make no apologies for planting vinca. Okay, it's classed as invasive. It's as invasive as you want to let it be. I pull regularly, I cut it back regularly. We have no problems. This little patch here has been here for probably 6 years and it's barely moved. So again, as I say, it just adds that little bit. It's nice. It adds that little bit of color. And then moving on, we have a gravel path. These are all Serbian spruce. Really looking nice now. They were put in as wire baskets probably 6 years ago, and they were roughly, I want to say, 8 to 10 feet tall when we planted them. They've really matured. They've really started to fill in, and it's given us the look that we actually really wanted. Little rhododendron, it's struggled. It hangs in there every year. It's never fantastic, but it's just that little splash of color. The problem with the rhodies is they desiccate through the winter. The cold wind just sucks all the moisture out of them, and then they spend the whole next year trying to recover, and eventually they just give up. But this is nice and sheltered in here. It's sheltered from the east wind in particular, and this guy's not doing bad. And then we have a few other little bits and pieces, some nice daffodils, peony coming up through. And as we walk around the corner, we have we call them the two humps, first hump and second hump. Now, a lot of this soil came out of the pond when we excavated the pond. It was close to the pond. It gave us somewhere to put the material, but also it is a really nice feature. It breaks up the garden. And this was planted actually the year we did the pond. So these would have been planted probably about 8 years ago now. Mixture of mostly perennials, 1 or 2 shrubs. Some nice primula, some nice cowslips coming up through with some muscari. There's a nice lot of fiddleheads in here. This actually is the overflow for the pond. So once the pond overflows, the water comes in and then just soaks this area, and the hostas absolutely love it. The willows took a real beating this past winter with the ice storm. And again, we planted these guys. They were 50 mil. Now, a tree is sold by its caliper size. So 50 mil, when we planted them, probably about 8 feet tall. And they've done rather well, to say the least. Dirty, mucky tree, but I'm sorry, you cannot have a pond without having willow. We have 3 planted in this area. So there's one right in front of you. And then if Julie pans around over the pond, we have the second one with our dangly balloon, our heron deterrent, and then our pond, which again, everything you see in front of you, we did ourselves. And our koi, obviously, looking really nice. And our third willow. So to all you fans of ponds, fish, waterfalls, this again will be featured very, very regularly. The pond has a liner in it, has a butyl liner, 2 pumps. And again, we put everything in ourselves. The waterfall is approximately about 18 feet high at the top and is fed by the 2 pumps off of a skimmer. But again, we will show you more of this. We'll go into more detail, give you more information on how we put this in, why we put this in future videos. And Willow's got a great bum in the way of the camera person. hoovering up the fish food by the looks of it. So from the pond, we head over the little bridge towards the rock garden. Conifers. We have a nice lot of conifers in here. When I first left school, that was my first nursery I actually ever worked at. I worked there for part-time for a couple of years. It was Don Hatch Nursery, a renowned conifer expert from Devon. I was there for almost 5 years and learnt pretty well all there was to know about growing conifers. And also through that, also picked up an awful lot on alpines. This is just a little bit not overgrown, but it just needs a little bit of a tidy up. And again, we've just not had the chance. We also have our hypertufa troughs. I make these guys myself. They're just recovering now nicely after a really harsh winter. They were pretty well covered for most of the winter with snow. So the plants in them, at the end of the day, they're alpines. They can deal with the cold. It's the really wet conditions they dislike. But yeah, I make these guys. I always make them too big. I can't move them. Even when they're empty, they're real heavy to move. But it's just another little feature that we like in the gardens. Albrecia looking really nice on the corner. Again, a good old favourite with forget-me-nots planted as well, which if you're not careful may take over. But you just have to do your maintenance. Summer snowflake. Again, another nice, reliable early bloomer with Primula denticulata. The denticulata are planted in a swale. All the runoff from the roof on the house comes into this swale. So they really never, ever dry out. They self-seed. They're spreading nicely. Probably going to dig a few this year, spread them out a little bit, fill in a few of the gaps. But again, we'll show you that as the season goes on. From that, we look down through and we see the walnut walk. Now, obviously, we didn't plant this, and this actually sold us the property. The first time we ever saw it, literally, as soon as we saw this, we were ready to buy the house. We didn't care what the house looked like. We looked at this on a really wet, windy, crappy day in October. The fall colours were looking spectacular. We came down the driveway, we saw this, and we were sold. So we have our clematis arbor. Every post has a Vichicella clematis on it. A couple of the posts have porphyrias. Now the Vichitellas are great. They come up, they flower in the summer, and we cut them down in the fall. But the porphyrias stays green all through the winter. So it shoots almost all the way to the ends. So it gives us some really early greenery, which we are quite desperate for here after a long, long winter. So we have the clematis arbor, and then this is the spring garden. The spring garden's named because we have tulips, daffodils. It's the only place really we have tulips. And then beyond that, we have the albrecia that are flowering on the edge of the rockery. So it's named the spring garden. It's actually the very first garden that we planted. So we had planted quite a lot of willow originally when we first set the gardens out. We needed some quick greenery. The willow were the answer for that. Now this one got absolutely flattened when we had the ice storm. I think we've got some pictures which we'll show you, but it's amazing how they recover. I honestly didn't think this thing would stand up again, but it is. It's already flowered, and it's really good source of early nectar for some of the insects. But it's finished now, starting to leaf out. But as I say, yeah, absolutely amazing that it came back up when it was almost flat on the ground. So from the spring garden, we walked down through our freshly mown paths. Actually, I've only just cut this day before yesterday. As I say, I have been behind because of the ice storm. I've almost finished. Magnolia solingiana, almost gone past its best. It's just started dropping its petals now. Does quite well here. It's quite sheltered from the cedar hedge. So we're now heading into the orchard. Fruit trees, apples, pears, plums, cherries, peaches. This was originally our Victorian kitchen garden, laid out as a Victorian kitchen garden, would have been laid out in the 18th century. But for one reason or another, which we'll go into another day, we had to take it out. Willow sat in the shade. Even now it's getting too hot. It is actually quite warm today. They're saying it's 30, possibly 30 degrees with a little bit of humidity. But everything is leafing out really quickly now. The central avenue is Sugartime Malus. Really pretty when it flowers, and it will be flowering very soon now. And we're stood in the crossroads of the orchard, and the other avenue is made up of cherries. Now, this is a Japanese flowering cherry. I grow these from seed. That's why they're all different shapes and sizes. Some have really done well, and they have actually, some of them have actually flowered this year for the first time. Beautiful pink blossom. But again, they've almost finished. We always worry this time of year. There always seems to be no bees, no bugs, no nothing to do any pollination. Then all of a sudden you get a warm day, the plums are flowering, and they are absolutely covered with pollinators. Bees, bugs, flies, all sorts. But doing a really good job for pollination for us. So we have 3 plums in here. We have a green, a yellow, and a red. But this one at the moment is obviously in peak blossom. I think my dog's showing off for the camera. Look at it. Definitely showing off for the camera. Oh yeah, here we go. Get ready. Nope. So, yeah, join us each week and I will we'll take you through a gardening year. From sowing seed, taking cuttings, to planting out, division, vegetable growing. We grow most of our own vegetables, so again we'll take you through the whole season, show you when we put our seed in, when we plant out, when we harvest. But everything I show you, everything we show you works for us. Not necessarily going to work for you, but it works for us. Tried and tested over many years. So please join us, and if you like that, what? Oh dear. So please join us. Cut! I'll do. What? You still videoing?
Please like and subscribe.
Oh, that's the word, yeah. So please like and subscribe, and join us next week for, I don't know, I think maybe next week I'm going to do a piece on tomatoes or tomatoes. Depends where you come from.